So the sun, in that sense, giving us light so that we can see where we're going, providing heat for us so we don't freeze to death, evaporating the waters so they'll bring rain, and controls our weather through radiation from the sun. The sun is much to do with our climate and whatnot. There is also a thing that is portrayed called the Magi in the Gospels that is actually the 3 stars of Orion's belt. The 3 pyramids in Egypt are again representations of these 3 stars in Orion's belt. They all have varying sizes because of their actual distance from the Earth, and probably from their actual size to begin with, and their actual brilliance. And so that size and the brilliance is copied down into the 3 pyramids that in Egypt line up, and they point to the Sphinx, which is the lion. We're told that Jesus was the lion of the tribe of Judah, and they point to this Sphinx. But in the sky, going back to the winter solstice, is that at that time, if I can take this is probably a very crude illustration, but if I can take this flashlight, and if you can just kind of visualize 3 spots on this flashlight as being Orion's belt in the sky, and this hanging down thing here will be the star Sirius on December 25th, will point directly at the star of Sirius, directly in line with Sirius, down towards the horizon. You will see these 3 stars, and then the bright star of Sirius. These are the 3 Magi that are following the star as it appeared in the east. And if you follow this line down, you make an imaginary line and follow it down through the 3 stars of Orion's belt, the Magi, the 3 Magi, into the star of Sirius, which will be the brightest star in the sky out there. They will be pointing to it, and draw an invisible line straight down to the horizon, and that is where the new sun is going to arise on Christmas morning. It is the birth of the sun. And this is what they're talking about when they say that Christmas is the birthday of Christ. That he died, in other words, he hung in the southern hemisphere in the vicinity of the constellation of the Southern Cross, that he died, and he hangs down in that vicinity for 3 days, and then he will, the next time on Christmas morning, when those stars line up, it will be the point where the sun rises over the horizon, and it will be 1 degree farther north than it was the previous 3 days. Now, again, even though Jesus is back out of the grave, that you see the sun has come back to life, you'll notice that the church does not celebrate his resurrection until Easter time. He is born again, is died, and yet it is not 3 days, but 3 months later, 3 months, and at that time, of the spring equinox, the time when the sun has grown in strength, and now from that point onward he is going to overcome the darkness. There are now, from that point on, the days are going to become longer. They've become longer ever since Christmas Day, but now the sun is at such a point in the sky that it is in line with the equator. It has made half of its trip between the Tropic of Capricorn on its way to the Tropic of Cancer, which it will arrive at on June 21st. And at that halfway point, there are now 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness. And this is what is portrayed by the festival of Easter. The festival of Easter. This is when the sun passes over the equator. This is the sign that spring is now here. And the sun is going to be in the sky for a longer arc. It's going to be traveling a farther distance across the sky. The Earth is going to be warming up more because we're going to be getting more sunlight in the northern hemisphere, and now the southern hemisphere is going into winter. So from this, I guess we can derive the fact that the barbarians that we read about, that Melito was referring to, and all the solar deities must have been invented by someone that lived in the north. In the north, because if it was someone in the south, they certainly would not have been celebrating that it was winter was now coming, you see. But again, who those barbarians are, we can only take guesses as to who they might have been. It is possible it was the Celtic Hesus worshippers. It is possible that it is the Hindu Krishna. But this goes way back. Even the ancient Sumerians had a sun god called Shamash, and it has been speculated that that may have been Jesus's name is Yashamak, not Yahshua, Yashamak, the sun. And we know that IHS, as we've seen in the Christian church, is a symbol for the solar deity Bacchus, which was another solar god that was tied in with the vine of the grape and whatnot, just as Dionysus, Bacchus, and they used the same three symbols of Jesus. IHS it is in the Latin, or IES, which is simply the first three letters of the word Yeshua, or Yeshamek, is yes, simply YES or IHS.